Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has provided an injury update regarding Scott Mctominay, and I'm also on this current video going to give you the latest news regarding Chong, and there's lots of other things to currently talk about. It has been revealed that Scott McTominay has got an ankle injury that he initially sustained in the 3-0 win against Partizan Belgrade. He actually did play in the 3-1 victory against Brighton. But I think now this injury is very, very severe, and he could be out for at least a month. Due to this injury, Scott McTominay has had to withdraw from the Scotland squad. And, he is going to be a big miss, is McTominay, and it's also confirmed that he's going to miss, some very, very imperative games. He's going to miss the games against Manchester City and Tottenham. But McTominay, has been a consistent starter this season, and, he has deserved to keep his place in the team, reflecting on his impressive performances. I think, he's had or he's going to have initial scans, to see, the extent of the injury in that. But he's confirmed, he's out for at least a month. So maybe now we will not see McTominay back in action until Christmas time, or, we might not see him back in action until the new year. But that's just the latest news, give you an update on that. I still don't know if McTominay is a long-term solution for Man United anywhere. That's my perception on him. But, so far this season, he has done really, really well. And I think he's only, 22 years of age. But yeah, he's out with injury, and he has, withdrawn from the Scotland squad. News regarding Chong now. Reportedly, he has decided not to renew his contract with Manchester United, and I think allegedly he's informed the club that he will be leaving at the end of the season on a free transfer, because his current contract does expire at the end of the season. Now, I did say, we have got a lot of young players in the squad that are developing and trying to improve Manchester United, but I did say I have got some element of concerns about some of the young upcoming players, which I mean, I don't think all of them are going to become fruition at the football club. And I think Chong is one of the players that we do need to consider, getting rid of. I think he's only played on 4 occasions for Manchester United, and I think he's only played a couple of times this season. Chong, made his full debut for the football club. Made his debut for the football club in January, early this year, in the 2-0 win against Reading. Obviously, made his Premier League debut in the 3-2 win against Southampton last season, and made his Champions League debut in the 3-1 win against PSG. Reportedly, Juventus have showed an interest in Chong, so they could get him on a free transfer at the end of the season. Chong is only 19 years of age, but he has been given, his opportunities, this season. So that's the latest news regarding that. But like I still said, we have still got a lot of injuries in the squad, and obviously, reflecting on the amount of injuries we've had anywhere. Obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has had to make alterations in the squad. Obviously, some players now have come back from injury and that. But I think, after the international break, Solskjaer did confirm that more players are expected, to recover from injury. So I think he confirmed that Luke Shaw, Nemanja Matic, Tuanzebe and all that, should be back for the game against Sheffield United. Matic has been out with a minor problem. Luke Shaw's been out with a hamstring injury. He hasn't played since the 2-1 home defeat to Crystal Palace. Tuanzebe is out with a hip injury. Diego Dalot, he sustained quite a few injuries, this season. He's out with a leg injury. Obviously, I do believe when he does regain full fitness, he will get more opportunities. But I think it's unknown when Diego Dalot, will be back in contention. Bay is obviously still out until the end of the year with a knee injury. Fossil Mentu is still out. Obviously, I give you the news regarding Paul Pogba, didn't I, earlier on this week. It has confirmed, obviously, that Paul Pogba travelled to Amsterdam, to obviously have his ankle cast removed. So that just indicates out that he's slowly, that he's, closer to recovering from injury now, which is obviously very, very good news. He did say there was a slight chance that Paul Pogba could play in the Sheffield United game after the international break. Solskjaer did confirm this, but it is very, very unlikely. So I am very sceptical about the scenario. So Solskjaer did say, he doesn't expect Paul Pogba, back until December. But we do know, obviously, that Paul Pogba has been a big miss in that midfield, because we do know when he's on form, where the difference he does make in that midfield. But you could arguably say, recently especially, we've seen to look better, without Paul Pogba in that midfield. Because I do credit Mctominay and Fred, because I think, they've looked a good partnership. They've complemented each other fantastically well in our midfield. As you all know, I've got the same perceptions on Fred, what I've got of Mctominay. I don't know if Fred is the long-term solution for Manchester United. I will agree on one aspect, that we did overpay for him, because we paid just under £50 million to him last summer from Shakhtar Donetsk, and he hasn't mainly replicated at Manchester United, what he did do with Shakhtar Donetsk. But I still say, give Fred more time at the football club, because obviously he's only been here since last summer. But we have seen glimpses, of course, glimpses, of how good Fred, can be. But like I said on one of my videos yesterday, I do think, we have rejuvenated ourselves fantastically well, since the Liverpool game. Disregarding the 1-0 defeat to Bournemouth the other week, I think in all rest of the games, like the last 6 or something like that, we've really rejuvenated ourselves and that. Good draw against Liverpool, 1-1, very, very good point in that. We're the only team this season, to take many points in Liverpool in the Premier League. Good away win at Norwich, winning by 3-1. Very, very good win against Chelsea in the Carabao Cup, 2-1. Very, very good win against Partizan Belgrade, 3-0. Very, very good win at the weekend against Brighton, winning by 3-1. And Solskjaer, give his overarching view on that game, and he analysed it, and I think, he thinks that's our best performance of the season. Well, it is, because we created a lot of chances in the game. Solskjaer said, we should have actually, won by a greater margin, reflecting on the amount of chances, that we did have. In that game, there was a lot of good individual performances, and I thought the game actually, replicated the game against Partizan Belgrade, but it was a very, very good performance by Man United and that. But in the last 6 games or so, anyway, I have seen a variety of changes. If you haven't realised, I think we've showed a lot of tactical flexibility, because you do know for the vast majority of this season, a lot of Manchester United fans, including me, obviously have been criticising Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's tactics, because for the majority of this season he has been tactically naive as Solskjaer. Obviously, some of his substitutions and that have been questionable, but recently, I think he's done really, really well. Obviously, in the games against Liverpool, he obviously, went with 3 at the back. In the games against, Partizan, the first leg he went, with 3 at the back. And, that formation, seemed to be working out. But obviously, quite recently, he has reverted back to that 4-2-3-1 formation. But he has been going with that 4-2-3-1 formation for the vast majority of the season so far. And, I've also been very, very impressed there with Marcus Rashford and Anthony Martial. Because Rashford recently, he's also, rejuvenated himself. Because I know that I've been criticising Marcus Rashford for the vast majority of the season, reflecting on his bad performances. But I still said during his long bad spell, he's still a long-term solution for Manchester United. Rashford's been scoring for fun recently. He's now scored 54 goals for the football club in all competitions in just under 200 appearances for the football club since he broke into the senior squad back in 2016. But I have been very, very impressed there with Rashford. Some people still believe, obviously, he is overrated, but he's only 22 years of age. Anthony Martial, he's been fantastic, since he regained full fitness. Obviously got 2 assists at the weekend against Brighton, and we are aware that Anthony Martial does add more inspiration in that attacking third of the pitch, and that. Obviously, it got confirmed that Anthony Martial had been given that number 9 shirt at the start of this season. To be fair, Martial seems to be more effective in that central position, even though he does predominantly, play out wide, Martial, but, he's more effective in that central position. And there's some aspects of, Martial, that obviously, basically complement Marcus Rashford and that. So they have got, some similarities, obviously, they can both play in the same position and that. Obviously, more or less they've scored the same amount of goals, but one, Rashford's on 54. I think Anthony Martial now is on 53 for the football club in all competitions. Martial now is into his 5th season as a Manchester United player, and he's only 23 years of age. So it is good now, obviously, he's got back into the team, but he's been very, very good. Solskjaer did also, don't forget, praise Fred for the good performance. He did show out against Brighton. Solskjaer also give his more overarching view on Mason Greenwood. Now, obviously, he knows that he's still developing. Solskjaer knows that Mason Greenwood is still developing, and probably he's still a prospect basically, and he needs time to develop. But he did say, didn't he, prior to the Brighton game, that Mason Greenwood's still learning the men's game. He compared Mason Greenwood to Robin van Persie, and he did say their finishing is similar. This is what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had said. Mason Greenwood has scored 3 senior goals for the football club this season so far. He hasn't been starting regular to the extent as I thought he would have done, reflecting on his impressive performances. He's not yet started the game from the start in the Premier League as Mason Greenwood, but I think he needs to get given a start from the start, to see how he can participate in the full 90 minutes. But some people do believe eventually that he will overcome Rashford. Scholes recently, from Scholes' perception, he thinks eventually Mason Greenwood will end up, becoming a better goal scorer than Rashford. And you've got also Greenwood that can operate in the number 9, but he's also an option on the right hand side. But I can definitely ensure that Mason Greenwood, will become a success at the football club. With Daniel James, he played in the game against Brighton over the weekend. Another very, very impressive performance by him. He's enjoyed a fantastic start to his Manchester United career as Daniel James. Don't get me wrong, there's probably still some aspects of his game, that he does need to improve on. Probably his finishing needs to improve, maybe his crossing that needs to improve. But he'll learn on that, as he's developing, Daniel James. I definitely believe that he is flourishing. Solskjaer obviously, rested him in the game against Partizan Belgrade, because obviously Solskjaer's realised that obviously he's been overplaying in this season, because Daniel James now, including the game he played against Brighton, he's played around 19 games for club and country this season. He's played 16 games for Manchester United, and he has been a consistent start, and I'm actually surprised, the amount of games he's played this season. I think I knew that he'd obviously get chances in that under Solskjaer's guidance, but I didn't think he'd have played as many games to the extent as he has done, to be fair. But he is only 21 years of age. But I think he's got all the credentials to succeed as a Manchester United player without a shadow of a doubt. Without a shadow of a doubt and that. But don't get me wrong, these still deficiencies in the squad that do need to be addressed. And obviously, I think we are probably more than likely orchestrating on spending a substantial amount next year on recruiting new players. We spent nearly £150 million during the summer on Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka and on Harry Maguire, and like I mentioned, they've all enjoyed fantastic starts to their Manchester United careers. So I do believe we'll probably do the vast majority of our transfer business next summer, so we'll look to sign at least 1 or 2 players in January, but we'll do the vast majority of it next summer. So for an estimated guess, I think we'll probably, in the course of the next couple of windows, spend maybe from 200 to 250 million pounds recruiting new players, because I did recently say that I think we need at least 5 to 6 more signings if we are to be back to being a competitively level football club, maybe even more than that. But like I did take into account, there is still deficiencies in the squad that do need to be addressed. One of the priority areas where we need to strengthen up is that midfield, because I have got element of concerns about that midfield, even though Fred and Mctominay have recently been hit, have obviously hit the ground running. I think we need a world-class midfielder. Some people believe we need two midfielders, but we definitely need to recruit a replacement for Ander Herrera. We also need at least one striker. Some people believe we need two strikers, but we definitely need to recruit a replacement for Romelu Lukaku and Alexis Sanchez, because you can say, we look very exposed in that attacking line, since their departures. But yeah, we need someone to come in, that can score goals, someone who, can be more effective in the box. And probably can quite frankly say we do need to add more experience in our attacking line. But yeah, recently anyway, we have seen to create more chances in that, because obviously for the vast majority of the season, prior to recently, we've obviously, been struggling to create chances, and this probably, is why, we haven't been scoring enough goals. We just hasn't seemed to have that clinical element, to be quite honest with you. But yeah, Solskjaer, I do believe will get the time, that he's demanding from the football club. I do believe the club will give him at least a couple more windows. To see who else he can recommend to the football club. But even though we have done really, really good recently in that, took into account, my perceptions still haven't changed, regarding Solskjaer. I still believe he isn't the long-term future for Manchester United. That's from my own perception. And, we still need to see a variety of changes at the club. I think, we definitely need to get rid of our current board, because, the board, are not reliable enough. You can't rely on them. They have been a liability, not just recently, for several years they've been a liability in that, and the board obviously, didn't back Mulligan and Solskjaer enough, during the course of the summer. So I think we definitely need to get rid of our current board and, recommend a new board in. I also do believe that we need to get rid of Ed Woodward, because he's also been a liability for several years as Ed Woodward. So he's actually, he actually replicates the board in that aspect. I still believe we need to get rid of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Probably perhaps not at this, present time or just before Christmas and that, because obviously us getting rid of him now anywhere wouldn't solve a lot of problems at the football club. Obviously, if we were to get rid of Solskjaer either way, whether it'd be, sometime till Christmas or next year or whenever, it will cost the club a substantial amount. We probably wouldn't have to pay as much as we did do to get rid of Jose Mourinho, but obviously we're still going to have to pay something in compensation anyway. Don't forget Solskjaer is on a 3-year contract with the football club. He got given this 3-year contract when he got the job permanently back in March earlier on this year. I can almost assure, I can't fully assure it, should I say, but I can almost assure that Solskjaer will not see out his 3 years at Man United unless obviously something dramatic, can occur. But I still want him out in the football club. Then anyway, maybe if we can continue his good run of form up until the new year, until the end of the season, should I say? Then maybe my perceptions then will start to change on Solskjaer. But till then, they won't. And I still believe, these more players that do need to leave the football club. Like I said on one of my recent videos, I still believe there's another 4 or 5 more players that do need to leave next year. I know we got this, we got rid of a lot of the deadwood during this summer. Obviously a lot of players have now left there since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival, but these still more players at the football club that are no longer good enough, to represent Manchester United. I think, the players that need to go, I think, Ashley Young, he's definitely, one of the players that do need to go, because he's one of the problematic players at Manchester United. He's Ashley Young. He has now passed his sell-by date. He's 34 years of age. He's 35 next year. And these question marks regarding Solskjaer there, why has he actually been playing Ashley Young on a regular basis this season? Is it something to do with the injuries we've had? So he's had no alternative but to play Young? I don't know. But I understood that. I didn't understand us playing him last season regularly, but obviously last season he was obviously our first choice right back. Obviously, before the arrival of Wan-Bissaka. But Young, got given a new 1 year extension last season. That was also another mistake from the football club. And Young's been a long-serving player at Manchester United. He's now into his 9th season at the club. He has obviously, enjoyed 8 years here. So he's been here since the Alex Ferguson era. But we need to get rid of him. Jones is another one of the problematic players at the club. Like I've said to you on a regular basis recently that we need to get rid of Phil Jones. Obviously, his appearances now are limited anyway. They've been limited for quite some time because obviously, anywhere, Solskjaer's first choice centre-backs are Victor Lindelof and Harry Maguire. Jones, like I said, he'll get more chances like in the Carabao Cup and the Europa League games and that, but obviously won't get many chances in the Premier League. And Jones has been here more or less the same amount of time as Ashley Young. Jones is now into his 9th season as a Man United player. He's enjoyed 8 years here. We shouldn't have given that new long-term contract last season. Rojo, now, I think, some Man United fans, will have different perceptions regarding Rojo. Some people will say keep him, at least for another year. Some people say, get rid of him next year. It was actually it was a surprise that he didn't leave Manchester United during the course of the summer transfer window. Marcus Rojo, he was subjected to quite a lot of speculation. Don't forget, Everton were in for him. We put around the £25 million valuation on Rojo. Obviously, Everton either weren't willing to pay that, or Everton or Man United, just couldn't come to an agreement on the fee. Rojo's just got under 2 years left on his contract with Man United. Obviously, he isn't first choice. We have seen glimpses of how good he can be. Credit Rojo, I think his versatility is very, very good. He's, predominantly a centre-back, but he can play as a full-back. He can also, play as a wing-back. And he's just the age of 29, is Marcus Rojo. He's 29, so he's actually aging up now. But I think anyway he's going to be staying next year because Solskjaer has prevented him from leaving the football club in January. I think he has revealed the reason, why he's keen on keeping Marcus Rojo. But either way, we have got a lot of we've got quite a few versatile defenders. We've still got a lot of centre halves in the team. We have still got around 6 centre halves in the team. Despite the fact that Chris Smalling left for Roma, he went to Roma for just under £3 million. But if I had to choose who I would have liked to have left out of Jones and Smalling during the summer, it would have definitely been Phil Jones, because I think comparing Jones and Smalling, I think Smalling is a much better defender than Phil Jones. Definitely Nemanja Matic is one of the problematic players, and I do also believe that we need to consider getting rid of him next year, because he's obviously not good enough for Manchester United. I do agree on the aspect again. We did overpay for Nemanja Matic. We paid £40 million from Chelsea back in 2017, and you can mainly say he's enjoyed a difficult tenure with Manchester United. Matic isn't getting any younger now. He is, the age of 31, and I think he's just a very, very inconsistent player. Too slow, makes that midfield look totally imbalanced. Too easily predictable. And he has his current contract, by the way, comes to an end. His current contract expires at the end of this season, so we could lose him on a free. But we actually do have an option to extend his contract by a further year. But I'm very, very sceptical about obviously Man United extending his contract by a further year. So he's another player that needs to go. I think some people have said maybe Jesse Lingard needs to go because Jesse Lingard's enjoyed a very, very difficult time this season. He's replicating what he did in the last couple of months last season, because he was also very, very poor in the last couple of months of last season. And I did say, reflecting on Jesse Lingard's status at the football club, he should be putting much more better performances out. So some people have said, we should still. We should get rid of Jesse Lingard. So definitely probably another 5 or 6, more players do need to depart the football club. But one thing for certain, our recruitment has definitely got to improve, at least in the next couple of windows and that, without a shadow of a doubt. But I think with us obviously not being in Champions League football and that. Obviously, it's going to be hard for us, next year as well, to attract players to the elite level. But at least if we can keep this good run of form up until next year, then we have in that aspect got a better chance of getting the players that we obviously do want. Obviously, we're 12 games into the 12 games into the Premier League season at the moment. We've won 4 games in the league. We've drawn 4 and we've lost 4. And in that aspect, we have registered 16 points from a possible 36. And we, of course, are sitting 7th in the league. But obviously, prior to the Brighton game, we were sitting 14th in the league. I still think, we remain around 9 points behind top 4. So it's still going to be very, very, difficult for us, to get into that top 4. I've got to say I fully disregarded the top 4, but I did mention, didn't I, at the start of this season that our expectations this season, probably will be to finish in that top 4. So obviously, we can create a platform and it can obviously, give us something to build on. But I just don't see getting that current top 4. There's obviously still lots of twists and turns to come. Anything is possible. But yeah, we need to get into that top 4 so we can get back into the Champions League. And, like I recently mentioned, I think our only route now to Champions League football next season is, progressing in the Europa League. The positive is as well that, we are into the knockout stages of the Europa League. We've still 2 games to spare. We've won 3 games out of 4 so far in the group stages. We've registered 10 points from a possible 12. And yeah, so that's very, very good news. And we're also into the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup. So analysing it, we could still win some silverware this season. I know we've enjoyed our worst start to a Premier League season for over 30 years. I think the last time we had as bad a start to a season as this was actually back under the Ron Atkinson era. That was obviously before the recommendation of Alex Ferguson at that current time. But so I think now reflect on our recent reflect on our consistency recently, and with the improvements in that we've seen, maybe the pressure has eased off Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a lot, and probably not all the pressure has eased off him, because reflecting back before Liverpool game, Solskjaer's job was under intense pressure, but you could arguably say maybe in the last 6 games or so in all competitions, you could arguably say they've saved Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's managerial tenure at the football club, because if we'd have suffered a heavy defeat to Liverpool, if we'd have lost to Norwich and that, then maybe that would have been enough, to end Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's managerial tenure at the football club. But yeah, like I said, I have been very, very happy, recently. But one thing I did confirm at the start of this season, and one thing I did confirm, I did expect us to enjoy a better season this season than what we saw last season. But I also did expect us not to win the league this season or mount any kind of title challenge up. I didn't expect, obviously, that to happen, because analysing our squad at the moment, you can say it isn't good enough to, win the league or challenge for the league. But I think it's actually, definitely good enough for them, a top 4 finish. And I think reflecting on the the amount of money that's been invested into the club over the years, and with the size and potential of this club, we should be up there now, at least challenging for that top 4. But for my own perception, I don't think we're going to win the league for at least the next 2 to 3 years, maybe even longer. It's dependent on if we can get the right caliber players in the next couple of windows, and if we can get the right caliber players in that, then I think we can be a future title contenders, and that's basically all there is to it. And that's basically all there is to it. But yeah, for my own prediction, I think we'll probably finish around 6th or 7th this season. But I can't see Manchester United getting the top 4. But I do believe anywhere our aspirations will be that top 4 in the next couple of seasons and that. But yeah, you can still we are aware that it's a long process, it's a long rebuilding process. You can still, quite frankly, say Solskjaer's still in the process of rebuilding this Manchester United team, because analysing the majority of this team anywhere, it isn't Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's. The vast majority of this team is Jose Mourinho's, because taking into account Jose Mourinho recommended 11 players into the football club. Now, obviously, Solskjaer is still inheriting the vast majority of them. There's still players here from the Van Gaal era. There's still Matty from the David Moyes era. There's still quite a few players here from the Alex Ferguson era that Solskjaer is inheriting. So I just also wanted to take that into account. I still think Solskjaer's keen on continuing the policy of recruiting young British players like he did do during the course of the summer. Obviously, in that aspect, he does replicate Ferguson, because Ferguson, don't forget, developed a lot of young players. He controlled a lot of the transfer policies. Controlled a lot of the contracts and that. And I just don't think we're ever going to be the team that was under Ferguson. We're never going to achieve in terms of what we achieved under Ferguson and that. And I did say now I hope that this team, this day and age, can replicate what the team did under Ferguson, but I'm very, very sceptical about it. Solskjaer obviously wants to follow Ferguson's philosophy at the football club, but I think he's actually backing the youth philosophies, so he wants the youth to deliver the goods at the club. But Solskjaer obviously wants to win that winning mentality and that fear factor back to Manchester United, and we know obviously none of that has been there since the Alex Ferguson era. I just wanted to take that into account. Brandon Williams, I've got to say, he's been absolutely fantastic for Man United, and you can say now that left back has been confirmed. It's been confirmed now as that left back. Brandon Williams, I think, has played around 4 games for Man United this season. And he's been absolutely fantastic. Only 19 years of age. So I've got to say, he's a better solution than Luke Shaw. He's also a better solution than Ashley Young. So I think now he's going to start to play on a regular basis. But I did say if he can prove himself, Brandon Williams, he will earn more first team promotions. And this is exactly what he's done. To gain more first team promotions. And I thought Brandon Williams was superb on his full Premier League debut in a 3-1 win against Brighton. I was, very, very impressed there with him. So you can definitely say that left back has been confirmed. James Garner, I don't really have a perception, to be quite honest with you, on James Garner at the moment. I still need to see him play more, for me to have a perception on him. He made his full debut for the football club in the 1-0 win against Partizan Belgrade earlier on in the season. But, he also may become fruition at the football club. He also, may become fruition at the football club, James Garner. I think, we also need to get a director of footballing, and, that seems to be an element of concern, why we haven't, recommended a new director of footballing. Because during the summer, there was quite a few former Manchester United players linked with that director's role. Obviously, there was likes of Rio Ferdinand, Patrice Evra, Darren Fletcher that were linked with the role. And I did pinpoint out, didn't I? That's one of the structural changes that we do need to see at the football club. There was speculation about Edwin van der Sar, I think, during the international break. Don't forget, reports emerged out last week from the mainstream media saying that allegedly Man United had travelled to Germany, for a meeting with Ralph Ragnick, who's currently the head of sport and development at Red Bull. Obviously, Ed Woodward had scheduled the meeting because he's still keen on recruiting a director of footballing. But I did say, if we are to get one in, we need to recommend someone who knows the traditions of the club, someone who obviously knows of the club, someone who would be reliable to obviously our transfer business, because quite frankly Ed Woodward is not reliable to obviously our transfer business, and also to someone who's obviously got the right philosophy for the club, so they can obviously recruit the right players there to Manchester United. And probably a lot of Man United fans will say that Edwin van der Sar would be the right candidate. But I think Solskjaer did insist during the international break that he's happy he's insisted that he's happy, with the club's current structure, and what he means is he feels as though that where we don't need a new director of football and that. But so we know Solskjaer's job's safe for this present time anyway, because obviously Ed Woodward has assured that, because obviously recently he gave his given the Saka verdict to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So Ed Woodward still insists 100%. He's backing him all the way. But like I said to you, these are some aspects of me, that I do credit Solskjaer. Like I said, he's got a lot of trustworthy in his young players. Showed a lot of tactical flexibility recently. He's he recommended 3 good players to the squad during the summer and that. My element of concerns I have got about him that he hasn't really got that managerial experience, not really to the highest level. So him being a manager, him now being a manager to when he was a player, he's totally comparison, because actually when he was a player, he had that proven pedigree, because he was a great long-serving player for Manchester United for 11 years. He flourished under Alex Ferguson's guidance and that. But he's totally comparison as a manager, and before he came to Man United, obviously, he was at Mould. Before he was at Mould, he had a really short tenure with Cardiff. His tenure at Cardiff, obviously, didn't last. He was only short tenure anyway. He only managed around 29 or 30 games. He got sacked in Cardiff because obviously, he ended up getting Cardiff relegated. Some Man United fans did say early on this season that he could replicate at Man United what he actually did at Cardiff, but obviously we do know we're very, very sceptical about that's not going to happen, more than likely. But it doesn't mean always if you haven't got that experience that you're not going to succeed in that. But yeah, we're definitely, I think, willing there to give him the time he does need. But Solskjaer has been, permanent manager of Manchester United now for around 8 months or so. Obviously, in total, he's been here around 11 months. Obviously, including the time when he was the interim manager in that 3-month period, when he got recommended in December of last year, following the dismissal of Jose Mourinho. You can say we've obviously, mainly enjoyed the difficult 8-month period in that. Obviously, totally comparison to what I saw, when he was the interim manager. But yeah, he's been here just under a year overall. So yeah, definitely give him more time at the football club. But Solskjaer is our 4th permanent manager since the Alex Ferguson era. And I did say anyway, didn't I? And I do actually keep mentioning that, we haven't really got the structure to keep sacking managers and that, because 3 managers have already been sacked since the Alex Ferguson era. But we will see what happens. So we have got a big game coming up after the international break. We do go away to Sheffield United. Going to be a very, very tough game, because Sheffield United are on good form. I think that they're sitting 5th or 6th now in the league. Chris Wilder has done a good job, so I've got to praise him for that. Took over Sheffield United in 2016. Obviously, he's now into his 4th season. He's manager of Sheffield United, progressed them from League 1 to 5th or 6th in the Premier League. So you have got to credit him for that. Some people believe that probably Chris Wilder, would be the right candidate for Manchester United or Arsenal. He's obviously not going to leave Sheffield United. We know that, but that's just from some people's perceptions. But I've already told you guys as well. Obviously, the players that are on our agenda, who we could go in for next year. I think Solskjaer's got around 5 or 6 players on his agenda in that. Likes of Mario Mandzukic. I think it's very probable we're going to sign him next year. Jadon Sancho, Moussa Dembele, James Maddison, Erling Haaland, Christian Eriksen, they're all on our agenda, who we could go in for next year. And I think, the majority of them players, would probably, do well at Manchester United if they did come in, But yeah, so I just wanted to do this video, guys, to give you the latest news regarding Mctominay. Also, the latest news, regarding Chong and all the rest of the other news. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always. There will be more live videos coming up very, very soon. Take care, God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.